Alrighty. What is up, everybody? Welcome. This is the HTS podcast, of course. Today I have Tubby on my left side. I can't even point the right direction, on my left. And I got Chris down here at the bottom.
How you
So,
doing?
yep. Tubby, introduce yourselves. I know it's been a while, so I'll let you introduce yourself, Tubby. And then Chris, you next, and I'll do myself last.
Alright, I'm Tubby Tub Tub, Tubby for short. I guess I'm an aspiring fighting game competitor. The two games I play currently is Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6, although I have not touched Street Fighter 6 since Tekken 8 came out. But so those are the two main games that I will play. I do have plans on playing 2XKO when it does finally come out. And yeah, also aspiring content creator.
That's what's up. So, Chris, introduce yourself. Nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Good to be here. My name is Christian. My tag is C-2. You can also call me Chris. That works too. I am a Smash competitor. I'm currently inactive. Managed to make top 200 GA all time for rankings. And I currently play Tekken 8. Plan to be a very avid ATL Tekken player. And yeah, I just really trying to grind fighting games and make it to tournaments, win tournaments, and bring home some more dubs for ATL.
Good to hear. So, obviously, all of you mostly know who I am. I'm Sewshin. I am a fighting game content creator and player. I mostly play Tekken 8 at the moment, and I am looking forward to competing in 2XKO. And I'm an ex-FPS competitor as well. You guys may know me from Halo or other such games, even Valorant included, and Siege, for those who do know. And yeah, let's get started. First thing we got to talk about to get the fish out of the water is Tekken 8. Because there has been so much shabacle about Tekken 8, patch notes and moves and characters, So I want to know y'all's thoughts on just literally all of it. Mostly on the BS part, and is it really a community problem or is it just a game problem is the real question.
It's up to you. Did you want to go first or?
Actually, I wanted to hear y'all's input first. I mean, I do have my thoughts on it, but I also kind of want to feed off of what you guys say too.
I got you, because this is actually something I've given a little bit of thought to for a while now. It's just for Tekken, like Tekken is really like a personal game for me. It was one of the first fighting games I picked up as a kid. It was the first one, played all the way since like from Tekken 4 to Tekken 8. I will mention I didn't touch 7 as much as other people did, and I wasn't really active for 7, but it was like 4, 5, 6, and now 8. I think the main thing with Tekken 8 right now is just finding that sweet spot. The game is still new. I think a lot of people, including a lot of legacy players, are kind of jumping the gun. They got brought into a new game where they're like, yo, what the fuck is going on? What's happened to the game we love? But, the game's new. It's going to take a little bit of time for adjustments. Patches are being made. I will say that Tekken, like Harada's doing really good on making sure that these patches are dropping like consistently and like frequently. Like I remember me and Sewshin, we were covering patch notes because he was teaching me June, and then not even a month and a half later, we get another one that's even bigger, and they're covering a lot more ground. They're making more adjustments, wall combos, adjustments, and so on. So for me personally, I think the game is in a fresh spot. I think we just gotta give it time to let it get to that peak status. Let the dev team make their adjustments, and us as players should be making the adjustments as well. I know there's been a very big thing for defensive players. Sewshin is an example of those. Defensive players who are upset with the game. They feel like it's very mashy and very aggressive heavy, and for that, it's more so of you got to make the adjustments. You got to step up or step aside. You just got to make the adjustments to win. So,
and to feed off that more, I think more of the mashy part. I think the problem specifically with defensive play, and this is my only issue with it, is that the fact that a lot of moves have wonky hitboxes, or I don't know if you guys seen the clip with the Kudon's clip where he does a delayed Morning Crow 2 on an opponent's wake up because the Morning Crow 2 is a tracking move. So he basically Devil Jin does a full fucking 180 and just it resets his pressure and all this, that, and the other.
Didn't he do like a cross up with that setup?
Yeah. It was a cross.
Yeah.
It was fucking crazy. It was crazy.
I mean, King has that too.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about with the tracking, because it's something I meant to mention and to kind of explore a little bit more. There's actually situations where at the end of a June combo, at a certain June combo, you can literally get just throw out Genjutsu 4, and depending on how they wake up or depending on how they respond, you can literally like U-turn and get a whole side switch off of it. So I do understand what you mean about the tracking. I think hitboxes and tracking are very important when it comes to these fighting games, especially because it's more of a 3D game. You know, it's not just 2D. We have side steps. You know, we have backdashes. So I don't think that they're gonna let it go untouched. You know, I think they're definitely gonna be paying attention to those, especially for when I read the patch notes recently, the ones that just came out after the Evo Japan. I remember seeing certain notes about, oh, we're gonna make sure we cover the tracking on this and touch up on the tracking on that. So I don't think they're gonna let it go untouched for too long.
Yeah, and I think another problem with, and this is more of just fighting games in general, is when top players, they'll say something and everyone just feeds off that said tweet or said whatever. I find that shit very stupid. Now, some of the stuff that the pros are saying are very true, and yes, I agree to some of that. You know, Rainius 442, that shit is...
Oh my lord.
Yo, that move needs to get fixed. Why is hers better than every other Mishima's? It's not that 442 is, oh, it loses her turn, all this shit, that shit, the other thing. No, it's just fast as fuck. Why is it that fast?
Yeah,
that's
no,
my
I
issue.
get that.
But
I don't even care that it's that fast. It's more like she's actually plus on block. And then on hit, she has a guarantee, was it 3? Or was it 4?
Engager? Yeah, 3 heat engager. It's pretty crazy.
So it's like, what, 30-something damage plus heat engager, and now you're in the mix-up. So I think that's more of the issue. Like, the other, like, Demon Paws, they actually lose their turn. Now, whether you like Demon Paws or not, like, for example, Jin and Kazuya, they're going to hit you from downtown. Devil Jin's is actually not that bad. His range is actually pretty poor, so his Demon Paw is pretty manageable, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But then Reina just takes it to another level, because she has, like, both.
Yeah, she has everything in her Demon Paw, which I think her Demon Paw in the Sentai 3 should not... I don't think that should be a guaranteed heat engager. I don't think that should jail. I think you should get a guaranteed mix-up with if you hit somebody with Sentai 442 for Demon Paw, but I don't think you should get a guaranteed heat engager.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That is pretty crazy.
Like, because and I'll even say this for Lee, as somebody who plays this character. I think Hitman up 4 on hit should not guarantee down forward 4-4. Like, I think some of these moves that give guaranteed heat engagers are kind of busted, in my honest opinion, because the hit you do already does mad damage, right? So 442 does around what, like 15-20 damage, and then you add that on Sentai 3, which is a heat engager, you're taking 35, almost at least a quarter of a full combo. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, I don't think they'll take it out the game, but I think that's a big issue with heat engagers right now, is that too much shit can go into heat engagers that are guarantees.
I will say, like, from my point of view, Tekken is a big game. Like, a big game, big moves, a lot of moves. You have each character having anywhere from like 90 to anywhere from like 90 to 100 some moves, except for Victor. How
many does he have? Less than 100?
He has like 75.
Yeah, he has like 70, 80 something.
Okay, well, Kazumi in 7, Vanilla Tekken 7, had like 70 moves, right? But she was considered top tier.
Hmm.
Just
But
FYI.
yeah, no, I got you. But for me, it's just the one thing I noticed from the patch notes early, like the first patch that dropped, because I remember going over this with Sewshin in detail, was any move that was getting extra usage or was being used improperly for what the character was supposed to do, how the character is supposed to operate, or what the move itself was supposed to do, literally got touched on spot. And I think the dev team is really looking into that. And that's what I really enjoy about the patches is if you're not supposed to use the move that way, they're going, no, can't do that. We're gonna change that to make it work for exactly what we said is gonna work for. I know June was one of them. I think Xiao Yu was another one. I think Drag was another one where some of their wall combo stuff got kind of gutted because they were using moves that were not supposed to be used at the wall like that. So, um, for me personally, I think just like I said, over time, the more the game goes on, the more they're gonna be going through these moves lists. Looking at Reina's Demon Paul, you know, looking at these moves and adjusting them and fine tuning them to where you're supposed to be using them for exactly what they said to use them for. So.
Yeah, so I only partially agree with what you said. Like, maybe for the most part, I do agree and their overall direction. But, like, so for example, like them nerfing Dragunov and them nerfing Azucena, for example. We'll start with running 3-2 because that was like the horror move, right? So they nerfed running 2 from Dragunov, and then they nerfed Azucena's running 3-2, but then they give like Asuka, like I think it was like running 1+2. It's like her homing high.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so
yeah.
she's plus 11 on that, and it's homing. So plus 11, which means you're not stepping. You're literally guessing mid or low or throw at that.
It's
point,
also
right?
something, and it also is something that can be used with Gusto, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so like if she has her install, it is a normal hit launcher, and without the install, it's like a counter hit launcher, and you're like, well, it's a high, okay, sure, but she also has like a mid that's also like +5 or +6, so more or less the same thing. And if your overall direction or philosophy and listening to the community was to stop these running moves from being so oppressive, especially since they made running moves easier, then why buff Asuka in this way? Not saying she didn't need it. She needs buffs, but now you're buffing her in a way that it is the same problem from Azucena and Dragunov. So, like, if that was the issue, why are you doing this again? You're just moving the problem from one character to another. And, well, Leroy is a different topic, right? Like, he doesn't have, like, those oppressive running moves, but he got, like, 3 pages of buffs where he's getting closer to, like, Tekken 7 release Leroy kind of levels. So,
Yeah.
So, like, while I agree with you, I also am like, where are they going with this direction? And another topic, which has nothing to do with balance, but like, why is it still so hard to add friends? It's been 3 months, and like, I'm still have to look through the replays. So, like, I feel like there's a few things the dev team or the producer can kind of like, steer this direction. Like, how come Tekken 7 I could just add a friend, but Tekken 8 I can't. This is supposed to be like the next generation. So I still have my issues with Tekken 8, but so like I agree with you on the balance part, but I also don't agree 100%.
Yeah, no, I get you. Sujo?
I mean, when it comes to balancing in this game, I'll be entirely honest. It's a mixed bag of success, I would say, because some of the stuff they're doing really well, right? Wall combos, stuff that shouldn't exist. Y'all remember when Devil Jin Hell Sweep used to do literally almost 80 damage off the fucking wall?
I think it did.
Yeah, it did like 80 something. And then on you remember when the unconscious stage, whatever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't break the floor on P2 side for some reason.
Yeah.
So it was just what the hell, you know what I mean? And I love playing P2 side. It's really fun, And so it's just, but they fixed that part, right? So I'm glad they fixed a lot of the issues with things that shouldn't be in the game. But to piggyback off of what Tubby said more about how they're just moving problems to other characters, we're not going, and I'm gonna go to Leroy. That character got buffed to hell, legitimately.
He did.
And this goes back to the problem I was saying earlier about, everyone just to be agreeing with the pros, and so when the pros say something and everyone agrees with them, then that's mostly the community wanting that change. But what's funny to me is that not everyone in the world plays that character. Like, some of these people that are saying Leroy needs buffs don't even touch the character. If not, they casually play the game. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't even. Now, that's not to say I don't enjoy casuals playing fighting games. There's nothing wrong with that. I play other fighting games at a casual level. I'm not gonna, lie about that. But there's a problem here balancing between the casual standpoint of the game and the competitive side of the game. Because why is it so hard for me to add somebody just to get sets in Tekken for certain matchups? Let's say I need a practice for DreamHack Atlanta or Dallas, let's say. I shouldn't have to add them on Steam or go to the Tekken Lounge, play some sets there, then add them there, and then be able to invite them.
Yeah.
And why is it that only the host can invite people? That needs to be fixed too.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, why was it in Tekken 7 that we had all these quality of life things, but we can't have it in Tekken 8? And that we need. I think what needs to be fixed is the more important things, right? Being able to invite your friends, add people, play quality level matches. You know what I mean? If your PC can't handle the game, then we should have the option to just completely get out of that game. If the game is too laggy, let's say I'm getting like 7 delay frames in ranked or something, I should be able to just back out the match with like a button or something. You know what I mean?
I mean,
they added it. They added that.
Yeah, they did added that.
Yeah, they did. They did have that, but sometimes it just doesn't pop up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think
think
basically what they said is the way it works is if you finish the first round, you got to play it through. So there's definitely been some times where like I played round 1. Round 1's fine, and then round 2, it spikes, and then round 3, it's like okay, it clears up here, spikes here. Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean about like the whole PC optimization thing. I know for me, I have an AMD graphics card, and for some reason, there's been a lot of other people with AMD that's had a very similar issue where it's like, it's a memory problem, or the game crashes and we're getting like an AMD error. So I don't know if have they looked into that post-launch, but that's definitely something that I always research and look up, because I'm trying to find things like, how do I keep my AMD from crashing? Is there a way for me to upgrade it? I install my drivers, I update my drivers. So yeah, I understand what you mean about the quality of life things. I think they'll start handling it slowly over time. In terms of like character balance, though, I think just I'm gonna actually pull up the cast real quick of Tekken 8 because I want to look at this.
Hey, I'm gonna say this right now. Jin needs to get nerfed a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Next patch, he needs to get nerfed. I'm talking to you, Toby. You wanted them. Y'all need to get nerfed.
Okay, then just go ahead and nerf Lee, because Lee can do a lot of the same shit, if not even worse.
That is true.
He has a Demon Paul too. He has a 14 frame launcher as well.
He does have a 14 frame launcher.
He has a 10 frame punish from crouch.
That is also true.
Okay, I got the list pulled up here. I think what's interesting to me about just Tekken 8 is you definitely have your certified top tiers, but it does seem like everyone is playable to an extent. Everyone, like I've heard Sewshin say this many times. I've heard other people say this. Every character has bullshit. You just gotta learn it.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is, not everyone maybe be the same tier, because obviously that's a more objective thing. Atlanta might have a different meta than Japan. Japan might have a different meta than Korea. Korea might have a different meta than Pakistan. So our tier lists are gonna look different. But I think from a balance point of view, the gap between what makes a good character and what makes a great character, if they're approaching it in a way to where the gap is kind of smaller, then that's perfectly fine. It shouldn't, like, when I think of tier lists, just also looking at other fighting games, I don't think you should go from, okay, you play this character, if you want to when you play this character, you can kind of win with this character. This character has like 20% win rate. This character's unplayable. If anything, it should be, you want to get the full use out of the cast, all 32, all 33 characters. You want to see all characters represented. Some more than others, but I think the gap between, tournament winning characters and characters who could win tournaments could be a little bit smaller. In terms of Leroy, because I know y'all brought this up, I'm not sure what direction they're going with Leroy. I know those pages were like an overhaul for him. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Tekken 7 Leroy's back," and honestly, that kind of scares me. But truth be told, I think what they're doing is kind of like overshooting and then trimming down. So I definitely know they're gonna try to tone some things down in the next patch, or maybe try to like calm some stuff down. It's like, oh, we overtuned this, and now we gotta tweak it back a little bit, which is interesting because I know in some games they will literally just give a character a small buff, and then the next patch they give them another small buff, and then they keep doing that till the end of the game. So
I think minor tweak. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. I think it's interesting how the balance team is gonna balance out the roster a little bit. I'm looking forward to it to see what changes, who gets buffed, who gets nerfed, how the meta changes, how play styles change meta.
Yeah, so I think minor tweaks over a longer period of time is probably better than like insane overhaul changes. Because if you do an insane overhaul and then you're like, all right, well, especially right before a tournament, all right, let's just see how this pans out. Like, I guess in the sense that maybe you can speed up the process, like what did he really need or what did he not need. But I think buffing a character slowly over a longer period of time is a little bit better than doing insane drastic changes and then just having the meta shift like literally overnight and being super crazy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you because the small changes definitely makes matchups a lot easier to learn. It makes it more digestible. You're not, let's say you're playing like Jin, and you're used to fighting Leroy, and if you're going like +2, +1, 0, -1, -2, you think it's a +2 matchup for Jin, and then you wake up the next day and it's -2. You're just gonna take some time to get used to that. But I do agree. Like, although I see what they're doing with like the overhaul thing, I do agree with what you're saying in terms of you want to do it slowly, and show the character love, but over time rather than just basically giving them a fucking $1 million and telling them, yo, go spend this. I think nerf-wise, I think they've been hitting a lot of the top tiers. The only thing is in Tekken 8, in my opinion, in Tekken 8, there's a lot of characters that are kind of flying under the radar. There's a lot of characters that are like getting overlooked. There's a lot of characters who have low play rates, and they're still able to get away with their bullshit. They're able to get away with their shit because it's like an aggro thing, right? If everybody's looking at Dragunov and Devil Jin and let's say like top 3, right? Who I know Dragunov, Devil Jin. What's another person that people said were like top 3 in the game?
Which patch?
Now, wait, now we're back then.
No, back then, like the original patch, like originally.
So are we talking off release, like instantly February?
Yeah, like off release.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, everyone was talking about Dragunov, Azucena, and Devil Jin.
Right.
Top 3 at the time. I know in March people were saying Fang.
There was a lot. I don't know why Fang was not even okay, I guess it's released, but he's literally the same from 7 but better. But okay.
Yeah. So I'll use
week
those.
1 was like top, but then like after like the first month, he dwindled pretty far down into mid just because there were so many contenders for top tier. King was complained, June was complained, Xiao Yu with her crush, who else? Fang, but I guess no one really knew. Devil Jin, I think. Oh yeah, Dragunov, Azucena. There's a decent amount of contenders. Alyssa. Nina.
Alyssa was definitely, yeah. Nina was talked about a lot.
Lot, yes, but that's what I'm saying, right? You have
You have a
and this
lot
is
of
me.
characters.
Yeah, this is just me using this as an example. You have like Azu, Nina, Drag, and Devil Jin. Let's just say like those, right? You know, they're getting away with a lot of BS, and a lot of people are focusing on them. They're like, oh, Nerf running 3-2, Nerf running 2. They're like getting those characters nerfs, but getting those characters nerfed. But then you have characters like Jack 8, Jin,
Yeah.
to some extent, like Law. Like you have other characters who are kind of like flying under that radar, getting away with the bullshit, because everyone's just focused on like, oh, we want to see Dragunov fall off. We want to see, you know, Azucena bite the dust. I think that's what makes just Tekken 8 in general very. I'm not gonna just say interesting. I think it's very fun to watch because it's especially funny to interact with on Twitter, watching all these people, you know, prey on Dragunov's downfall. But then you have these secret top tiers. I know people said Leo was a secret top tier.
Yep.
I know people say like, people think Law's really, really good in this game.
He is.
I think
Like, he's actually so good right now.
You know, there was 2 of them in Evil Japan top 6, right?
Yeah,
I watched.
Let's 2 of them loser side. Let's not forget people.
I know people are.
We watching you, JJ Breezy. We watching you. We looking at you, bro. You go watch the video.
There was no Jin in top 8, just saying.
No June neither. I'm just saying. We're in the clear.
So I'm actually really surprised that June isn't played enough by a lot of players. And I don't know if it's just that June is, you know, very similar to Asuka and people don't enjoy that Asuka style gameplay, or it's just interesting to me. Now, give or take, I did switch from June to Lee, which is very interesting. I went from a top tier to a debatably high tier.
A secret top tier?
Yeah, like a secret top tier.
No, he's definitely not debatably. Like, if you actually look at his tools, he has very strong tools. But anyways, I'm not going to get too much into it. But also, Arslan Ash is currently playing June, or at the very least, he's experimenting with nerfed June, by the way. So if
which I'm excited to see more of.
Which means June is probably still good, and if she's good enough for Arslan Ash to pick her up after she was nerfed, she was probably really good before the nerf.
Right.
Yeah. I think... Actually, you know, we can talk about meta a little bit right now, because the meta in Tekken 8 is very interesting, to say the least, especially after Evo Japan.
Well, tournament result-wise, we've seen a lot of different winners, right? So, like, we've seen someone as low as Steve win a Pakistan tournament. Tournament, right?
That should be stacked.
So, right, Arslan Ash was in there, and a lot of other Pakistans, but so this quote-unquote one of the weakest characters also won a tournament. This is before he got the bus, by the way. So, that's just something to keep in mind. I think a lot of characters have actually won tournaments. You just have to look around from, like, different regions and whatnot.
Yeah, because I know in Korea, Dragunov's winning a lot in Korea right now. Mostly because of Lohai, give or take, but, you know, Dragunov's really strong in Korea. Pakistan, I don't even know what's strong in Pakistan, which is a funny thing, because I haven't watched enough of them. Japan's really... Yeah, you're good. Japan's really strong with Victor and... Is it? Yeah, Victor and Lily at the moment. Mostly because of Chikrin. And, yeah. I've always been okay with Alyssa. He's still a pro player. I'm not going to disrespect him. You know, he's really strong. But I'm very surprised that the results players are putting up with the characters they are playing. And, you know, that just goes to show that a lot of the characters that we call top tier are, on paper, still considered top tier. It's just some players are better than others, and, you know, Tekken 8's proven that to this day. You know what I mean? I think the problem right now is the meta is shifting to a lot of easier characters, per se, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, characters that don't take a lot of too much effort to really do much, or they get a lot of value off, you know, medium risk, medium reward stuff, or that type of thing. You know what I mean? Alyssa Dragunov's one of those characters. Alyssa, June is definitely one of those characters. I'm excited to see what Arslan does with June at Combo Breaker because I
Most
did watch.
definitely.
Yeah, because I watched the stream earlier today, before the recording of this video, and he was playing June against, I think, Devil Stir. I could be wrong, but yeah, they were playing first to 5 set. It was pretty fun to watch. I recommend y'all go watch his streams because, dude, them sets are really good watch, free information, dude. But yeah, I mean, the meta right now just seems a lot of the easy characters. You know what I mean? Because if we look back at it as a whole, most of the characters that we thought were top tier, right? You know, Devil Jin, who's technically a mechanically high demanding character, mechanically speaking, right? You gotta have electrics, you gotta know how to move correctly, do this, that, and the other thing. Jin's a lot easier now. June is super easy. Lily is really easy. I'm not gonna scoff over Lily. You know, a lot of the characters that in the meta, from perspective-wise, is just easy as fuck characters. And I don't know if that has to do with just, you know, making it easier to play the game, or if the game is just if they need patches over time, or just, you know, big overhauls or changes to really shift the meta, because I think it's still the same than it was before. And tell me if I'm wrong on this, but, you know, what do you think, Toby?
In terms of difficulty, execution, the whole overall game, or what?
I mean, all the above, really. Like,
okay.
Everything I just said.
So for them making the game easier, or Jin easier, yes, they made Jin easier. Yes, I think they also made the game overall easier. Execution wise, like, okay, well, Kazumi was really easy, since she was like, top tier, right? As for whether it makes that much of a difference, like, I'm sure it does, but if you're a pro, I don't think it really matters if you play an easy character or a difficult character. I think you play characters that suit your style, and you play a character that has good tools. And also, even if you played the absolute easiest character, right? Tekken is still a deep game. You still have to learn a lot of different things. Movement on one character transfers over to movement in another character. Now, you could argue wave dashing or crouch dashing, or very specific, you know, their version of crouch dash with whatever character. Sure. You could argue electrics, but they also made electrics easier, especially in Heat. You know, it's like free.
Free!
And, well, honestly, like, if we take Jin, he's more or less the same from 7. You never actually needed to use electrics because he has good generic tools. Now, the one thing they did was buff jab and down for 1, but they also did that, like, universally across the entire cast. Yeah. If you notice, everyone's jab range, maybe with some exceptions, like, I think Devil Jin might actually have some pretty poor range on his jab and his down for 1. His generic tools actually aren't that good.
I think his one jab is still solid. I think they nerfed the tracking on his DF1. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
Yeah, down for 1 is not that good. It's like -6 on block.
Yeah, it's really trash.
Yeah, I mean, it has a follow-up, I guess, but...
But you could just duck it, so it's like... You can just fuzzy duck it, and then you launch him, so it's just like...
I know you guys were talking about character difficulty. I think, for me, one of the things that stand out the most, I liked what Tubbs said about finding a character that suits your style. But the other thing on top of that is not just, you know, is a character easy, is a character hard, because that's not the end-all be-all, right? It's also about, you know, the game plan. You know, the game plan of the character. I'm not saying like matchup to matchup, but I'm saying like the general game plan, right? So, you know, if you're playing, let's see, I'll pick, if you're playing like King, right? If you're playing King, your whole thing is you want to get in, you want to get grabs, you want to get mad damage, you do what you got to do, right? That might be harder to do, as you go up in skill, because again, people are going to start playing better. People are going to start playing more disciplined. People are going to have a stronger keep out game. People are going to know what your game plan is. So to me, it's not just about, oh, how easy is this character? How hard is this character? It's also about, the match itself. And it's, what's your win con? And is it easier or harder to get your win con? Not necessarily, how easy or hard is it to learn the character. For instance, I know, for let's see, for Azuzena, her win con was fucking egregious. Like, you just running 3-2 and the doors just open up for you. And at that point, it's like, well, there's not much I can really do here. Thank God that got toned down, by the way. But that's what I'm saying. I think the biggest point is not just about how easy or hard the character is, because even if overall Tekken 8 is an easier game or the characters are easier, it's like what Tub said. It's about finding a character who more so fits your playstyle. I feel like your synergy with your character can take you further than others. If somebody's playing a top tier just to be playing a top tier, but they don't have the mindset for the character, they're only going to get so far. But if you click with the character and you kind of synergize well with it, I feel like you're going to be able to get a little bit further in Tekken 8. And then on top of that, it's just, the idea of, not as, it's just like win con. What's your win con? If I'm playing Lee, can I do what I need to do to get somebody at the wall? If I'm playing Azu, can I bait somebody to swing on me so I can get my counter hits? So it's just, those are like the big three things that kind of pique my interest when I'm looking at like the cast and the idea of like who's hard to play, who's easy or not.
Yeah, and talking about what's hard to play and what's easy to play, this is a great talk about 2XKO, which is definitely catering to a lot of easier inputs for fighting games. And but besides that point, what do we think of 2XKO, since we've gotten way more footage because of Evo Japan? And what characters are we looking forward to? I'll tell you what, I'm definitely looking forward for Akali to be in the game. I love that character in League of Legends. You can ask Tubby. And honestly, I think that game's going to do really well for itself. Riot has a big community when it comes to League of Legends champions in general.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, and you already have offline TV playing Tekken, so I won't be surprised if they're going to all switch to just playing the Riot's new fighting game, 2XKO, which was, for those who don't know, was called Project L way back when. So they just renamed it and announced that. But hopefully we get more character trailers before 2025. It'd be really cool to see. I would love a beta announcement this year, because I'm pretty sure they announced that we're getting something in 2025 for the full release. We're only getting 16 characters for a tag fighter, but I want to know y'all's thoughts on it so far.
That's a little small roster.
Yeah, that's what I said. I could be wrong, but I checked their website and it showed 16 silhouettes. Or 14 silhouettes, because we already have, maybe 10. I don't know. 12 silhouettes, because we already have 4 characters. So
I'm sure it'll probably be more. I mean, there's still a lot of time before it's actually out. And that's also why I haven't paid too much attention to it personally. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to play it. I don't have a huge opinion on it just yet, just because I haven't looked in. I'm not really going to look into something that's so far out. There's still so much that can change. There's so many different characters that they could possibly add, especially considering, League of Legends' huge roster, right? But I'm excited that it's a tag game. I like tag games, and I also really like 2v2 games specifically, or co-op games, especially if it's like going to be in a tournament setting, because I like competing but also like team games. And so fighting games and team games just kind of blending in together, I find that personally really fun. I like playing Street Fighter Cross Tekken despite its many launch issues. It was still fun. A lot of issues, but it was still fun. As for who I plan on playing, well, Ari for sure. I think Ari is already confirmed, right? Ari for sure, and
yeah.
I guess Yasuo. I don't really know who my second character will be. I guess I'll wait. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to a potential 2v2 partner, should they have like a 2v2 tournament scene. Yeah, I think that's all I have for 2XKL. What about you, Chris?
I know for me, I'm not. I got a lot of people who are in the League of Legends. I got friends, close friends, college homies who are really into League. They teach me a few things, show me characters. I'm kind of interested. The art looks really nice. I haven't really played League as much. I will say based off of designs and just from what I've seen from videos and the stuff at Evo. I also plan to be playing Ari. I like the character a lot. I like her aesthetic. I like how she functions and her movement. For me, 2XKO, I'm really hyped because we have a chance to have like a tag game or a 2v2 game that's actually very popular, widespread. People are going to see it and lose their minds and have a lot of fun with it, especially because it's based in League. Because Riot's doing a really good job with. I think Riot does a really good job with their games. From what I've seen with like League and like Valorant, I think this is gonna be a really fun game to play. I'm definitely looking forward to hopping in. I like the idea of doubles. It's like you and a partner versus two other people. It'd be like me and Sewshin versus Tubbs and one of the other guys in the server, and me and Sewshin are like barking at you like, you dropped the combo, now we're gonna lose. I think I feel these are kind of fun. Like you sold.
The mobile experience. You blame someone else.
Yeah, I think that's like really fun. But I think one thing that's like the biggest thing on my wish list for 2XKO is Riot has a lot of ground with characters they can add, and I'm not just talking League. We have a whole FPS. If they were to have the original 16 and then come out with like maybe 2 to 3 characters for like a Valorant DLC pack or an extended roster with more League characters, I would really love to see that kind of get put into the game too, especially since you have a lot of different like play styles and things that you can do with like the Valorant characters. League has a really big roster, so I don't think we're just gonna get 16 characters. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a couple more. But I'm just really looking forward to see what they do with the massive amounts of content that they have at their disposal.
Yeah, and speaking of DLCs and stuff, they've been getting pretty mad expensive recently. But with Riot Games and knowing them, they're gonna put it free to play, obviously, because 2XKO is a free to play game. And DLC packs. I don't even think they're gonna put DLC packs. We're gonna probably just get free updates on character rosters. A live service fighting game. Have we ever had that actually? That's a good question.
Okay. Tekken Revolution was free to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is. Wait, Grand Blue does have free to play version of their game. It's still a game you have to buy, but they do have a free to play version, and it's
so yes,
live service.
It's been done before, but it's very rare in the fighting game.
I think it's also been done with don't quote me on this. I think Dead or Alive also had one, where it was like you had your base roster, and I think you could like unlock a few people, but like the game was free, but you could buy like the full game. So I think Dead or Alive, Tekken Revolution, because I played both of those on my PlayStation 3 growing up. So I don't think it's out of the question for Riot to do it. It's just a matter of it's not if they're gonna do it. It's what kind of content are they bringing when they do it. Are we gonna get like free updates with 5 League characters, or are we gonna get free updates with like 3 Val characters, 2 League characters? You never know what's gonna happen. Riot might even reach out and maybe connect with some other games that are very popular and see if they want to add their character to the game. So you never know.
I mean, this free to play 2XKO is gonna change the whole market in general. And if it blows the fuck up, which, let's be honest, it's gonna blow up in the first 3 months, just like how Tekken 8 is right now. You know what I mean? And my question is, and this is a question I think everyone should think about is this going to change how we perceive fighting games when it comes to marketing value? Or, is Capcom going to release Street Fighter 7 and it's going to be free to play live service? Or is it going to be a lot cheaper to get into the game? It's going to be live service, but there's a lot of monetization, right? So it's a question of, is this monetization going to help fighting games or is it going to hurt fighting games? Right. Or does it even work for certain, genres or categories of fighting games? When it comes to team fighters or, King of Fighters and Tekken and Street Fighter, just to name a few. I just think about these things and I'm just like, when this drops, and if it does flop, then, we learn. But if it doesn't, then, what is Capcom or Bandai going to do to try to compete with that, especially if it takes a lot of its player base? Because I know damn well it's going to take me if it's really fun, which I've heard it's been really fun for a lot of professionals and content creators. So, I don't know.
Me personally, I think, honestly, I don't think that, 2XKO dropping and, being free to play and Riot pushing it the way they are is gonna it's gonna change some things, but I don't think it's gonna be to a point where, we look up and it's like crickets and nobody's playing Tekken 8, or we look up and it's crickets and nobody's playing Street Fighter 6. People are still gonna play the game. It's still gonna be mad popular. People are still gonna love the game. I think what it might do is change. It might change how people view DLC when it comes to fighting games. I know Melty Blood is a good example of this, where they said, yo, here's the game, you bought the game, these DLC characters are free, you're not paying for this, just download it. I'm not sure if Riot's going to put a paywall behind it. I know they might do, like ranked season battle passes, the typical microtransactions, that kind of stuff. But, in total, I don't think just 2XKO dropping, being free to play, and then that's going to completely just shift the market in one direction. It might tweak a few things. But in terms of overall fighting games, I think what 2XKO is trying to do is just become another big name. There's a lot of tag fighters who, they came out in the past and they kind of flopped. And they didn't, get to a point where it was on the same level as, say, like a Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8 or, that kind of level, right? I think what they're trying to do with 2XKO is stand beside them, not push everybody out the way and be like the main dominant fighting game that everyone's playing, Again, it's just, I think it's trying to be a mainstay, but it's not trying to like overshadow any of the other games. I think you're still gonna have a lot of people who double compete. You're gonna still have a lot of newer people who are gonna flood the scene and play a lot of more 2XKO as their fighting game. I don't think it's just gonna start ripping apart player bases and we blink and everyone's playing 2XKO.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going. I think it's gonna change it up a little bit, but I don't see Street Fighter or Tekken or any other fighting game that already has an established community. They're not going anywhere. And first of all, people have already bought the game, so they already have the game, and at that point it's just DLC, new seasons, and let's just say, okay, 2XKO is free to play. Okay, so essentially it's free to play, but they're still gonna have DLC. Now, whether they charge for the DLC characters, or if they're going to make their money primarily from like skins, for example.
Right.
I know skins are huge in League. So I don't know if they're going to charge for characters. And even if they did, that's nothing new at this point. Like pretty much every fighting game charges for DLC. So at that point, it's more or less the same, just a different fighting game. The only big difference is that it's free to play initially. So that's probably the key defining factor. But yeah, I don't think it's going to just... It'll be super popular when it first comes out for sure. Mm-hmm. But Street Fighter is still going to be played. Tekken is still going to be played. Mm-hmm. And every other fighting game that has an established community, they're still going to be played. And people are going to play multiple games. Like, hell, I plan on playing Street Fighter, Tekken, and 2XKO, right? So you're going to have people that play multiple games.
Yeah. I mean, I think all three of us are planning to double compete, right?
Yeah.
At least it's something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm doing Tekken and 2XKO. I might lean more towards one or the other depending on how I feel that year, and obviously when it comes to competing, which leads into the next thing about the FGC and just competing in general. And a lot of people have talked about this. There's been a few videos on this, especially with I don't know if you guys watch Jian, the professional Street Fighter player. Tubby, you probably know who that is, right?
No.
Wow. Okay. Damn,
what was his name?
Jian. Xian. He.
Xian.
Yeah, Jian. That's his name. I said Jian.
Oh
Jian,
no.
Yeah.
Judiker?
Yeah.
You.
Jidiker? Jidiker?
You talking about Judiker as well?
Jidiker? Who's that? But he talks about how being just a purely competitive player in the FGC is just not profitable, and
Hasn't been for at least a decade.
it hasn't been since for a while now,
Or ever, to be honest, because there was even less money back then.
Yeah. And so we're not League of Legends where players are earning $1 million off contracts. We're not getting paid by teams. We're getting sponsors. You know what I mean?
I know people.
Pay your travels.
Oh, my bad. I know people when that Fortnite tournament got announced like years back, and that one kid won like what, millions of dollars. I know people are losing their shit. I know grown adults. I know like mad people who talked to me, when they found that out, when the article was printed, and they were like, "Oh, you play games, don't you? You play games? Oh, you should be playing that game. Like that kid just won like millions of dollars." And I'm like, I understand that, but it's the back y'all up and continue to the topic at hand. Fighting games being profitable is definitely it's not really optimized. Like you said, people are getting sponsored. People are getting funds through coaching. We have a pro player in our server, Shai Rula. He's up on Metafy, and we were just talking about it earlier today, how he was saying that he has made a bigger bag off coaching than he has competing in tournaments. I think for like originally, I think if you're getting in the FGCs for the money, you're in the wrong business. Like do it for the love of the game first, and the money's secondary. Same thing for League, Val, anything really. If you're gonna do it for the love of the game first, and chase. The bag is just a nice little benefit that comes afterwards. To show off your good performance. But I think for FGC, it can be profitable to an extent. Like people who are making content, people who are content creators, people who are on Twitch, making a hustle, people who are coaching, like Shai is. They're multitasking. They're doing a lot more to kind of bring in income while they're doing what they love. I don't think we should really be worried about is fighting games profitable, because at that point, that kind of puts the community in a light where, okay, I'm playing Tekken 8, and I'm playing Dragunov to chase a bag. I'm not playing Tekken 8 to necessarily have fun with the game. And I've talked to a few people who actually competed in Smash about this, where when they started competing, and their main thing of competing was to put food on the table, they got burnout actually very quickly. There's an XPR player who doesn't compete anymore because of that burnout, because he had to. It was his only way of getting gas money. It was the only way he was getting home. It was the only way he was able to eat that day. And for me, that hurts to see a lot of people kind of lose their love of the game just because of a dollar bill, or is this profitable?
Yeah, so I don't think you should ever play any game, regardless of how much money is in it, if that's like your sole purpose. There's tons of other things that are probably better and more consistent at making money. There are. I mean, working a 9-to-5 job, for example, is way more consistent than trying to get tournament money. And in fact, unless you're like a super top player in whatever game you're trying to compete in, this isn't really a topic for you, because I mean, unless you're really out there winning at all, it doesn't make a difference for you. Like unless you're like an evil contender or a CPT or Tekken World Tour, like, top 8 finalists, like, why does that matter to you? And so, I mean, and if you are, which is very few people, if you are, then yeah, sure, it could definitely be a topic. But for like 99.999% of people, this is never even a topic. Most of the money, if in this business, is like in content creation or other aspects like Metafire people or other pro players doing coaching. You can't solely rely on tournament results, especially when there's a lot of killers out there.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you right now, if some of y'all were actually trying to come to Atlanta and think, oh, I'm gonna win a 404 to eat my dinner and put food on the table, my brother, you are sadly mistaken. You gonna have to fight a lot of people to get that check, and it's not gonna be easy either. That's
Isn't
why
ATL the strongest in Tekken in terms of the states?
I think we are. I think Atlanta
Anakin?
is the strongest because
Genghis
we have
Dawn? Anakin,
0-2, JJ Breezy, Genghis
Genghis
Dawn,
Dawn,
who's
Poke
the most-
Chop.
Poke Chop's down here. Speed Kicks used to be here, but he's West Coast now, so he don't count.
I count him.
We count him. Hey, come back.
We
Hey,
come
hey,
back.
Speed
We
Kicks,
come back. His hometown's still ATL. He came
we
from
love you, Speed. Come
ATL.
back.
He came from ATL.
And we got other killers here too. You know what I mean? And we got some up and coming players. Tubby's one of them.
Oh, thank you.
I'd say Tubby. Some people say me. I don't think so. I still have a lot to learn, to be honest. But others will say, there's a lot of up and coming players in our scene. Really making a step through. I mean, Tubby, you made a top 8 recently at one of the locals here, right?
Yeah, I made a top 8
Yeah.
recently at one of the locals. I've won a lot of online tournaments, and then I got into an invitational tournament. Technically, I mean, it wasn't that hard, but it was a pretty big one. It was like the Chipotle Close qualifier.
Oh.
And there was 513 players. I got 56, and my only 2 losses were to Toro, who got 4th, and another Eddie player who got 14th. So those were my only 2 losses.
Yeah.
So I made it pretty far. I was playing pretty. I was playing out of my mind that night. I don't know what was going on, but
Bro was locked in for real.
I was locked
yeah,
in
bro.
for real. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, esports and fighting games specifically is very difficult because most of what esports is in fighting games is just mostly personalities, right? When you walk up to Chris or Sewshin, aka me, or Tubby, we have a personality, and that's what makes you want to watch us on Twitch or hang out with us in Discord or at locals or whatever, and talk about Tekken or all that such. You don't come to us because of competing sometimes. Now, yes, there's Knee and the GOATs, right? That a lot of people would say, but that's just like a small tidbit of why you really enjoy that person. You know what I mean? Because some people watch Knee because, oh, he's one of the greatest players of Tekken of all time, which he is.
Yeah.
He is. Arslan. But what I love about Arslan is that he's funny as hell. Like, he's actually really funny. You know what I mean? That's why if I read Arslan, I'm gonna hang out with him for his personality, and that goes to show that really fighting games is kind of just a sub-category topic of just another way of content creation rather than just competing. Competition just happens to exist to us.
Yeah. Competition is just fun, and I guess it helps us grow. I mean, just the nature of fighting games is the constant development, learning skills and knowledge and all that. Just competition is just a natural process of that. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's really content creating these days, right? I mean, JDCR is, I mean, of course he competes, but he's also a content creator. He has his own Twitch and YouTube. Well, I think they took down Twitch in Korea.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so unfortunate. But
that
yeah.
really is unfortunate.
But yeah, he's a content creator too, and I love watching JDCR, by the way. As good as he is, I watch him because he's actually really goofy. Like, if I wanted to watch top-tier gameplay, right, I would watch Knee. But to be honest, Knee, to me, is less of a personality and more of, like, he's in it to win it, right? Like he's locked in completely. Whereas I'll watch JDCR because he'll goof off all the time.
Yeah.
And so
And he just happens to be really fucking good.
he just happens to be really fucking good. But if you ask me if I had a choice which one I would prefer watching, I would choose personally JDCR, even though Nee is better at the game.
Speaking of which, who is y'all's GOAT of Tekken? Let's get a little crazy up in here. Who is y'all's GOAT of Tekken? Your top one.
Well, how are we defining it? Because if we're defining by pure skill base, I could just tell you the top player. But if we're how are we defining this? Because I would say JDCR in terms of like overall because of personality, but skill wise, I'm not gonna say he's top.
If we were to put this in the most competitive way possible, it would mostly be skill and winning, right?
Yeah.
But if we want to put it in a way of who's your top one via who can you relate to the most, and do you enjoy watching their skill and how they approach the,
I do.
Who's your top one when it comes to how you want to approach the game and how you see everything, and
I got a big three for that one, but
if you don't have a top one, we can do big three.
I have two.
Okay.
I haven't thought of a third one.
Oh, man, Tubby's about to go into Shibaku.
I guess Chris can go first because I'm still thinking of my third. If I
I got three. My big three is Tone. Reason being, Tone is because I got a chance to interact with him. He's like coached me a little bit. We played some sets together. What's crazy is he actually knows one of my homies from college, and I was hanging out with said friend. His gamer tag is Hockey. We were hanging out, and we were just playing some Tekken together. He was like, "Oh yeah, my homie's like a professional Tekken player," and I was like, "No way." He was like, "Yeah," and I ended up getting to know a little bit about Tone through him, and then I just started, watching some of his streams. I got to interact with him, like, a little bit recently. We have similar interests, TV shows, a little bit of music. He just seems like a very, chill guy to be around. Second one, I love watching FDX. I love watching FDX. He has this, very chill vibe. He's very, professional. It's good advice. Is digestible advice. He has fun with it. He doesn't try to make it seem too formal, but he also, doesn't bullshit around like, oh, I don't know what frame this is, or I don't know what I'm doing here. I guess just get good or something. It's very approachable. To just explain, it's very approachable. My third one, I'm not gonna hold you. I think the third person for me is definitely Shadow Ruler. Since him being in the server, getting a chance to interact with him, talking to him, he's a very passionate guy, loves Tekken, loves his music, loves to joke around. There's been many calls in the VC where we've just been kicking it, laughing about nothing, just chilling. And those three, I really, appreciate them, and good people, man.
Tubby, you have your top three or no?
I guess. Do you have a top three?
I'm still thinking about my third. I'm not gonna hold you.
Alright, I guess I'll go then. So my top three is, I guess number one is JDCR. Not only is he an Evo champion, at least at some point in his life, he's really good at the game, but he's also really goofy, right? And his English is actually pretty good too, so it's not like it's super foreign to me. He can speak English on stream and in his videos, and he does. So it's not like I can enjoy it from a non-native Korean speaker, right? So I enjoy watching him. I was also going to say John Ding, but I don't really watch him for his streams or if he has a YouTube actually. But I remember he had a tournament match against Pokechop, and you know how everyone's perception of Koreans is very reserved, very calm and respectful, and then they're just immortal at the game. So he wins the first game, and it's okay, it's cool. So it's a normal Korean thing. They're really strong at the game, but then he slowly starts doing this. on Poke Chop. He starts doing the Poke
I
Chop
think I've
rock
seen that
on Poke
clip.
Chop.
I think
I've seen that clip.
So,
I've seen that shit.
and then the whole crowd just pops off and goes crazy because it's like we're thinking Koreans are so respectful, and he's from Korea. He's not like ATL Korean or anything like that. He's not like from the States or anything like that. He's Korean. So we were not expecting that at all. And then he just goes ahead and does this ATL culture and pops up and does the Poke Chop rock on Poke Chop on stream in front of everyone. And I was like, you know what? You're cool as shit. I enjoyed that. He's also buff as shit. I don't know if you've ever seen John Ding. He's actually pretty fucking jacked.
Dude, have you seen his new PFP on Twitter? He's jacked as fuck.
Yeah, he's jacked. So, like, I enjoy John Ding, not because of his Twitch or YouTube or any other content he makes, but just because of that little tidbit. I enjoyed that. And I guess my third would be FeeDX just because he's... like, I've only recently discovered him because of Tekken 8. He kind of blew up in Tekken 8. And, you know, his methodology of approaching the game, he's an amazing teacher, if not the best, at least currently. I would say he's probably the best content creator, instructor for Tekken 8, or maybe in general, just based off his personality. He's good at the game, he's really good at content creating, he's good at teaching. So I would say I enjoy watching FeeDX.
Yeah. That's a good top 3. I like your top 3. Your top 3 is dope. And that I gotta find that John Ding clip. I
can find it.
So funny.
Yeah, I can find
That's
it.
funny as hell. My top 3, number 1, this is actually in order. It would definitely be I'm Your Father. That dude is so funny and so enjoyable to watch, but it's also that I pick up a lot of like Lee specific things from him, and I'm just thinking, what? And that's not, you know, I get shit from Shy all the time and other people, but the way he plays Lee is so specific to him that it's just really unique to watch, and he's just funny as hell. I don't know if you know this, but in Tekken 7 there was a mod where you could get random sound bites from I'm Your Father's stream when you were playing Lee, and every time you get hit it'd just be random sound bites of just him like screaming or something. It was so funny.
He's a Korean player, right?
Yeah, he's from Korea.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've seen some of his videos. He is pretty goofy.
Yeah, he's goofy as hell. He's like, yeah, Li Xiao Blah. He's like, Mom. I'm like, he me for real, but I'm the English version. And then my number 2 would be Ao. This is a bit more before I even met any of you two or anybody in the FGC, to be honest. And Ao was really my first inspiration to even play a fighting game and compete. He was really the reason why I even wanted to play Cooney in the first place too, is because I saw him do some cool Cooney stuff, and I was like, damn, this character's dope, and he's like really good with this character. Let me pick her up because I think she's cool. And that's when I learned a lot about how to get better at fighting games. And to be honest, that's the reason why I got into fighting games. For real. You know what I mean? And so, to me, that inspiration and, you know, watching him play at the highest level will always be there for me. He'll always be one of my favorite professional players to watch, no matter if he wins or loses. You know, Al, if you watch this, I low-key am your number 1 fan. That sounds really weird to say, but yeah. And then third, yo, shout out the speed kicks, bro. Seriously, shout out the speed kicks, because for people who want to learn advanced Tekken stuff and really understand the game beyond what, you know, FeeDX teaches you, because don't get me wrong, FeeDX is really great, but I think what speed kicks goes over is a lot more in depth of things that, if you really want to get to that next level, can get you there. And just by watching him, you learn a lot, and just asking in his chat or whatever. And I think speed kicks is just one of those guys that just seems super chill and nonchalant. Also, he's in the West Coast, and he fucking teaches, he gives FeeDX some of the stuff that you guys watch on his channel and stuff. A lot of people don't know this that watch FeeDX, but a lot of FeeDX stuff comes from speed kicks, except FeeDX just explains it better. But yeah, that's my top 3. And yeah, speed kicks is a really good player too. You know, back when he did compete in T7. But yeah, that's my top 3.
I mean, he's still pretty good, isn't he? Beating Arslan Ash in first to 5s or first to 10s of his whoring.
I think he did beat Arslan, did he not?
Yeah, he did. At least online. And I get it. You know, it's either online or.
Hey, let's see that shit offline. Hey, yo, Speed Cake versus Arslan, first to 10 offline celebrity match. Let's get it. But I don't know, you know, what, before we head off, one last topic is, what as you know, and this concludes us three as well, is, as a fighting game community, what should we do to better improve and, you know, make things more fun for people to get into fighting games or just enjoy it in general, and even outside of the game? You know, what can we do as a community as a whole? What do y'all think?
Show up.
Honestly, yeah. I know for some of us it's hard because we live out in the fucking sticks. Shoot, I had to move from, you know, ATL to South Georgia, and I can't wait to get back closer to ATL, man. But, you know, show up. Tubbs, you're absolutely right about that. Show up, you know. And I think the other biggest thing for me is, you know, help one another. You know, as much as you know, you're competing with the next guy over, you know, you might have to play a set against him tomorrow, or you might see him in losers finals the next day. You know, that's your brother, man. You know, help him out. You know, teach him something he doesn't know. You know, help me to help you. I know a lot of people who they don't get into games as quickly, or they don't even get into the games like at all, because, you know, nobody helps them out. Nobody teaches them anything. They basically get thrown in there and get told, yo, figure it out. So I know for me, a big one is just, you know, help one another. You know, be a community, really.
Yeah. No, honestly, to back up to you know, piggyback and do tricks on Tubby shit. Essentially, yeah, go to your locals. Go to events. Show up. Become a number of entrants. Become a statistic. Not in the bad way, in a really good way. Okay. Literally add to the statistics to bolster out fighting games, because, dude, Tekken 8 at Combo Breaker has 1,600 plus entrants. It's the #1 entrance game right now. I think that's the first time that's happened at Combo Breaker.
Very impressive, by the way.
Wait, for the whole event, or specifically just Tekken, or what?
The Combo Breaker as a whole, 1,600 people for Tekken 8. Just that game alone.
Really?
That's
yeah,
big.
1,600 plus. Go
That's
Combo
crazy.
Breaker
For just Tekken.
Just Tekken.
That's bigger
Not
than
even...
Evo Japan.
Yeah.
Evo Japan was 1,200, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty big at Evo Japan. Well, Evo Japan's more Street Fighter based, and so is Evo in general. But it's still a pretty big number.
I mean, to be fair, it's in Japan. It's kind of hard for like the people in the States to like travel over there.
Yeah, I mean, it costs what, 1,200 to get there and 1,200 back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. It's 4,523 in total, and let's see, where's Tekken?
But yeah, don't be a no-show. You know, make sure you can go to your locals. I try to go as when I can. And get offline practice. Starting Fridays, if you guys are in the Atlanta area and you're off on Friday and you want to hang out with the boy Sewshin or anybody, and you want to just play fighting games, or Tekken 8 specifically, I will be there on Fridays every now and then. So keep up with that. At 404, yeah, I'll go for offline practice with all the other guys over there. You know, just to get some practice in, hang out. Also, 404 is getting revamped, I've heard. It got bought out by Spears. So I'm excited for that, for our local. But
because of the
PS5
how many people setups?
Oh, thank God. PS5s. We're getting PS5s. We're finally getting consoles.
Oh, bless.
Bless.
No more frame drops, man. I can't. Look. You think, bruh, I lab my combos at 60 frames per second. I'm not getting to the venue and doing my combos on 45 frames per second, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty ass. The stream setup would dropped a lot of times, and it is unfortunate. I do enjoy 404, but there were a lot of times when their setups were just too many issues, and you know, PC. I still think PC is better overall, but it's easier to optimize your personal PC versus like for an entire, you know,
an entire setup for a building. Yeah.
Right. So I get that, and PS5 is just consistent. All the hardware is the exact same. You know, it's just way better for like mass setups, and I get it. So I wish 404 well, and and I don't know the exact details. I know it's like a new owner, so I'm not sure what happened. And
Oh no, I'm excited. Like not just as a person who plays Tekken, but as a person who can't could be jumping back into Smash soon. I'm just all games really. Guilty Gear, Smash, Tekken, Street Fighter. Man, I'm excited for everything. Like FGCs are really important to me personally. It's how I made a lot of long-term connections with a lot of homies. And so seeing the community around my own front door just kind of grow and get better and evolve, it just means a lot. And it's actually just really fun to watch too. Who knows? We could be hosting could be a 404 major at some point. Shoot, depending on how big things get.
Well, there was Oktoberfest back in the day, and that was pretty.
Yeah,
good.
I remember.
Yo, honestly, hey Greg, before we sign off on this video, all right, another Oktoberfest, bro. Give us one more. Give us one more, bro. Just one more, bro. That's all I'm asking, bro. One more. Get Rest to come over here. Fuck it. Let's ask John Ding and JDCR to come over here. It'd be funny
JDCR did come over for one of the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah. It was JDCR, Shadow 20Z, Cuddlecore, Anakin, of course, right? Anakin had to be there.
I think there's a video on that, actually. It's a Red Bull video. You guys can go look it up.
Yeah, so they all stopped by 404 for whatever reason.
I think there's even a few celebrities. I think it was last year. They might have had there's a WWE wrestler. His name is Xavier Woods. I think he was down here during Oktoberfest.
Yep,
Oh.
he was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. He was there for one of the Oktoberfest. So, with that on note, as FGC players, show up to your damn locals, bring some money because you're gonna need food. All right. Or bring your own food and bring some water for yourself too.
Wait, not everyone has a local scene. Let's just say they live out of bumfuck nowhere.
Then
there's
find a community on Discord.
There's online tournaments, but
TNS every week Tuesday.
Or level up your game, and I'm sure there's of course there's other online tournaments and whatnot too. And the 404, and the 404 Discord. I guess going back to what we can do as a community. A lot of people, at least specifically for Street Fighter, I don't think we have anyone doing this for Tekken, but they have they'll jump into Discord on TNS and they'll have a online tournament party, and they kind of watch each other's matches and they cheer each other on. And
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so to help alleviate the fact not everyone shows up to locals, and even if they do show up to locals, not all of them stay. And I don't show up to every single local. I show up, but I don't go up every single week and whatnot.
Yeah.
I only make it to Mondays, and I'm only now just starting to go every other Friday. So, and Chris can only go every monthly because he lives in fucking butt Narnia.
Yeah.
So,
I'm trying to move, bro. I'm trying to move.
Make it happen, bro. We'll be excited. But, with that on the note, this is Sewshin. That's Tubby on the right. Chris at the bottom.
On his screen, I'm on his right. On my screen, I'm on, also his right. But not the way he is pointing. He's pointing this way, so he should be pointing this way if it was my screen.
I'm pointing this way, but if that was on your screen, I'd be pointing this way. Anywho,
right.
I'm Sewshin.
I'm Tubby.
I'm Chris.
And this is our talk show, and we'll see you guys on the next episode for when that happens. Love y'all. Peace.
Peace.